Okay, so you've tried setting some time aside. You have tried using the Eisenhower matrix to structure your time, and you're still overwhelmed. I sympathize. Let's debug it a bit. Well, the first reason might be you're just overwhelmed. It might just be a lot to do. There are times in the tech industry, times of tremendous growth or a big crisis or a tremendous pivot, where we just have a very large amount of things to do. And you might be in one of those phases. The issue to look for here is that it must be temporary. Months, maybe, no longer than that. If it goes on like that forever, if you can't see an end to it, if you don't have a plan to get to an end of it, then you need to be careful. And you need to think about what is causing this overwhelm and maybe look at some behavioral changes. But it does happen, but it must be temporary. You don't want to live in overwhelm all your career. Okay, so the second question, are you delegating? And if not, why not? Delegation is like the biggest superpower you can have to get your time back. And it has the added wonderful effect of growing your team. So, are you delegating everything you can? Are you taking a little bit of a risk with your delegation? And by that I mean positively. Taking a positive risk with delegation is great. It extends your people, it stretches them, and it gives you time. And it may also generate some new approaches to things that you've been doing all along, because different people have different approaches to the tasks. So take a look at your team. Who is ready to stretch? Who have you been thinking, well, I really want to develop that person, but I'm not sure they're ready yet? Try it. Try it. People are more willing to grow, more robust, more capable than we often give them credit for. So try it. Try delegating. Delegate more than you think you should. Take a risk with it. Spread the load around. It's the best thing you can do to get yourself out of overwhelm. Another thing to look at is company patterns. Does your company culture celebrate 80-hour weeks or 70-hour weeks? Are you comfortable with that culture? Maybe that's something that you have just decided that you want to deal with for a while. Again, it's a question of making a conscious choice. Some cultures do have an emphasis on spending a huge amount of time at work and being overwhelmed. If your company is one of those, maybe you want a conscious choice to stick with it. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to start creating a little bubble around you where that piece of the culture is pushed against a little bit. So change your behavior a little bit. Change your communication around it a little bit. See what you can do to push the culture around you so that there's a little bit less of an emphasis on just time, just the amount of work, and more an emphasis on what's getting done. How are people developing? And finally, look at yourself. Are you comfortable with overwhelm? Our industry tends to attract people who love doing lots of very complicated things. They love novelty, they love complexity. And so we find ourselves in these situations over and over and over again where we are overwhelmed. And it feels kind of comfortable until it's not, until our health starts to go, until we can't get to the deeper things in our work that we want to. So where does it come from for you? This sense of being okay with overwhelm. Look back at your life. Have you always been that way? Were you that way in college? Have you always been that way in your professional life? And if so, try stepping away from it a little bit. What is overwhelm giving you? What are you getting from overwhelm? Maybe it's adrenaline. Maybe it's a sense of importance. What would happen if you let those things go a little bit? So you could go home early a few times a week. So you could go out of the building for a couple of hours and do the deep work. See if there's something there. So that was our course. I hope it was helpful to you. I hope you have found a way of getting out from overwhelm and getting some time to think on a regular basis. Let me know how it went. My email's below. I'm always interested in how these things work, and I'm always interested in making them better. And there will be more courses to come on tech people leadership, so stay tuned. Take care. Thank you.